Long before the world knew my name, I was just a kid in a sleepy village, staring at the glowing screen of a cracked phone. The internet was a mysterious treasure trove, and I was captivated by its endless possibilities. As a boy with no computer of my own, I would walk kilometers to the nearest cyber cafe, saving every coin just for a few minutes online. I learned my first computer basics there, and that hunger to know more ignited my passion for technology, a spark that would eventually grow into a fire. I still remember the thrill when my first lines of code ran without an error. It was like unlocking a new language that could build worlds. Back then, I didn't have formal training or flashy tools, just an old PC, determination, and an unyielding belief that someone like me could write software that mattered. That sense of empowerment stayed with me long after the screen went dark. When the nearest bookstore was too far and too expensive, I relied on borrowed, outdated programming books that smelled of damp shelves and distant places. Every chapter one read fueled my curiosity. I spent nights teaching myself HTML and simple scripting, applying each concept the next morning at the school computer lab. Every new skill was like planting a seed that one day would grow into a career. "You don't belong here," one teacher told me, after I begged to enter a school competition that was only for city kids. That sting stayed with me. But instead of discouraging me, it spurred me to work harder. I spent weeks perfecting my program, and although I wasn't allowed to compete officially, I shared my work online, my first small victory in a much larger fight to prove myself. I never thought someone would pay me for my tech skills until one day a shop owner from my village offered me money to build him a simple website. I had never built one before, so I dove into online tutorials and forums, coding through the night with a mix of fear and excitement. When that site went live and the shop owner smiled, I felt my life shift. My skills had real-world value. My nights became a blur of trial and error, HTML tags, and color palettes that often clashed, but my resolve kept me glued to the screen. With every late-night practice session, my skill in web design grew. The feeling of seeing my creations come to life online was addictive, a clear sign that I had finally found my path. Instead of keeping my tiny wins to myself, I began posting my early projects on forums, hoping someone would give me feedback. And they did. Strangers around the world offered guidance, pointing out bugs, suggesting better practices, which taught me more than any textbook ever could. When a client from the capital city approached me for a complex e-commerce site, my hands actually trembled. But my determination was fiercer than my fear. I studied every feature they needed, from secure payment gateways to product listings, and built it bit by bit, earning my first serious income. Every new opportunity also brought new anxieties. Could a Promdi like me really compete with polished city developers? I decided that skill and perseverance mattered more than my background. It became my personal mantra, one that fueled me to take on challenges I had never imagined. That first big project failed spectacularly after launch. A security flaw exposed customer data. My face burned with shame, but I embraced it as a lesson. Late nights followed, restudying data protection, encryption, and error handling until I rebuilt the system stronger than before. To grow my skills, I reached out to other coders. But reaching out was terrifying. Yet, by joining online communities and attending a few small tech meetups, I discovered mentors and friends who showed me that collaboration multiplies growth. My heart leapt when a foreign startup offered me a remote position, my first taste of international work. That job challenged me to work across time zones and cultures. I learned version control, teamwork tools, and agile methods that forever shaped my career. That first overseas paycheck changed my parents' lives. I could finally repair our leaking roof and send my siblings to better schools, proof that my late nights weren't in vain. Even with stable income, I kept pushing myself to learn new languages and frameworks. That habit of constant learning prepared me for rapid shifts in the tech world, making me more valuable with every new skill I gained. Despite my progress, the voice of self-doubt whispered that I wasn't good enough. Each successful project, satisfied client, and kind word from a mentor slowly silenced that voice, teaching me that mastery grows with practice. When the opportunity arose to launch my own startup, I was scared but thrilled. I pooled my savings and partnered with like-minded developers, believing that taking a bold leap was better than wondering what if. My tech skills weren't enough, I had to master marketing, contracts, and finance too. Countless free online courses and late-night reading taught me the basics of entrepreneurship, transforming me from a coder into a business owner. With my heart pounding, I stood in front of an investor for the first time. Though my hands were damp with sweat, my passion and knowledge carried me through, earning my first small seed investment. My startup was too big for me alone. Hiring bright local talent allowed me to scale faster. Together, we tackled big problems and celebrated small wins as a team. More than once, the company bank account almost hit zero. Learning to plan budgets carefully, negotiate better contracts, and diversify income streams kept my company afloat. When a huge client canceled their contract, my team felt crushed. But this forced us to evaluate our processes, listen to other clients' needs, and improve, making us leaner and more resilient. As the company grew, I remembered my village. We started offering free coding workshops for local youth, hoping to light the same spark in them that had changed my life. Success had a price. My health and relationships began to suffer. That wake-up call taught me the value of boundaries, delegating tasks, and scheduling time for rest and loved ones. I learned that my harshest critics could be my greatest teachers. By welcoming honest feedback and acting on it, we kept improving our products and reputation. One morning, I woke up and couldn't bear to look at my laptop. That was burnout. Stepping back to recharge and reconnect with my purpose helped me return even stronger. An overseas client finally led to our first international branch. We had to navigate new legal, cultural, and financial challenges, making me appreciate the complexities of a global tech business. People began recognizing our company logo at conferences. That visibility was earned by delivering consistent quality, investing in design, and telling our story authentically. Public reviews weren't always kind, but they kept us grounded. We learned to listen, apologize when needed, and improve without losing our vision. My proudest moments weren't new deals, they were seeing our junior staff thrive. Sharing my mistakes and lessons shortened their learning curves and created a culture of openness and growth. A recession hit, and many companies folded overnight. Thanks to careful savings and diverse income streams, we survived, proving that adaptability is a business superpower. Suddenly, I was invited to speak at conferences. Though I never sought the spotlight, sharing my story inspired others like me, especially those from rural communities. No matter how big the company grew, my village was never far from my heart. We reinvested profits into local tech centers and scholarships, keeping my original promise to give back. Failures happened even after success. But each one was a stepping stone to innovation. They forced us to evolve faster than if everything had gone smoothly. I knew the soul of the company was its culture. Prioritizing teamwork, integrity, and creativity built a workplace where people stayed because they believed in the mission. Looking back, it was impossible to separate my personal growth from the company's. Every skill learned, every setback faced, and every milestone achieved was a reminder that persistence turns even the most unlikely beginnings into something remarkable. A simple conversation with my grandmother about farming sparked a new tech idea. That's when I learned that innovation can come from everyday life. Listening closely to real people can inspire solutions you'd never imagine. Suddenly, bigger companies began eyeing our small niche. Rather than panic, we doubled down on quality and personalized service. Being smaller made us faster, more flexible, and that was our advantage. When everyone around you is copying trends, standing out becomes a bold act. I invested time in studying our customers' pain points and built features tailored to them. That uniqueness became our competitive edge. Handing over control of a project was harder than I thought. Yet, empowering my team created room for my own growth, freeing me to focus on strategy and innovation. A casual chat at a tech meetup led to one of our most important partnerships. That experience cemented the value of showing up, sharing ideas, and staying genuinely interested in others' stories. When our servers crashed mid-launch, my stomach dropped. But instead of pointing fingers, we rallied together to recover, and learned to stress test every system afterwards. Writing blog posts and tutorials was never in my plan. Yet, sharing my lessons publicly built credibility and created a supportive tech community around our company. Just when we thought we'd made it, new trends shifted the landscape again. That hunger to keep learning new tools and frameworks kept us one step ahead. My favorite part of every week became mentoring interns. Seeing their eyes light up as they mastered new skills reminded me of my own first steps, and kept me grounded. Public speaking terrified me, but declining invitations meant missed chances. So I practiced until my voice steadied. Slowly, sharing my story in public became a powerful part of my work. When expanding the team, I learned skill could be taught, integrity could not. Prioritizing character created a loyal, passionate team that stayed through the company's toughest days. We took on a lucrative contract that didn't feel right, and it backfired. That mistake taught me to trust my gut and to align decisions with our values, not just short-term income. A harsh article almost derailed my confidence. But reading it carefully revealed honest flaws, fixing them made us better, and the company emerged stronger. Behind every great leap were friends and family who kept me going. Their encouragement gave me the resilience to face each new obstacle, knowing I never walked alone. Late nights and long hours eventually took their toll. Therapy and regular breaks saved my focus, proving that caring for myself was part of caring for my business. I thought I knew enough until new tech made my skills feel ancient overnight. That push to upskill reminded me that every expert was once a beginner, and being curious kept my edge sharp. Setting up a rural coding club felt small at first. But hearing a teenager say, "Your story showed me I could do this too," reminded me why I started. There were nights I lay awake wondering if we'd make payroll. Learning to plan carefully and embrace lean strategies pulled us through, and made the company more resilient. Success didn't erase my mistakes. Remaining humble kept me learning and listening, qualities that proved far more valuable than pride. Collaborating with a competitor felt counterintuitive. But partnerships created new value for customers and expanded our reach far beyond what I could have achieved alone. When I took my first real vacation, I felt guilty. But my team thrived in my absence, proof that empowering them was one of the smartest decisions I'd made. Opportunities flooded in, and for a while I chased every one. Overextension almost sank us. Learning to say no preserved our quality and sanity. Despite my success, my village remained my touchstone. Investing back home wasn't charity, it was a way to uplift the next generation of dreamers. When we were bought by a larger company, I feared losing our soul. By insisting on protecting our values in the merger, we kept our original purpose intact. When routines grew stale, so did innovation. Allocating time for experiments, hackathons, brainstorming, reignited creativity and led to some of our best products. Every day, someone new thanked me for my work, it never failed to move me. That gratitude fueled my commitment to pay it forward, using my platform for positive impact. Even seasoned leaders can slip into exhaustion. Recognizing the signs and creating space to recover preserved my capacity to lead with passion and focus. In the scramble to grow, I sometimes overlooked how far we'd come. Taking time to appreciate milestones gave me and my team energy for the next climb. My proudest project was training someone to eventually take my role. That legacy ensured our mission would continue beyond me, and far into the future. When I look back, my journey feels like a tapestry of risks, lessons, and relationships. And the most important truth I uncovered? That resilience, integrity, and a willingness to learn can transform even the most unlikely dream into an empire. With every award and new contract, I reminded myself of my humble beginnings. That grounded mindset kept me approachable. My team knew I was someone who listened and led with empathy. Expansion is exciting, but it stretches a company in ways you never expect. Systems that worked for 5 employees failed for 50. Reworking processes became my new daily puzzle. Tech evolves faster than most people can blink. That constant evolution kept me studying new trends, ensuring my company never grew stale or outdated. My village friends couldn't believe someone like me had made it. I made sure they felt included, investing in local initiatives, scholarships, and computer labs to share my success. Success feels hollow if it's only for yourself. That realization inspired me to create foundations that would support rural youth long after I'm gone. New, ambitious startups began nipping at our heels. Rather than fear them, I embraced healthy competition. It pushed us to keep improving and stay inventive. Humility is one of the most powerful tools a leader can have. By listening to my team, customers, and even critics, I avoided the trap of becoming inflexible and outdated. When a project failed, my first instinct was to hide the details. But honesty with my team and clients rebuilt trust faster than perfection ever could. Work was my passion, but my health began to slip. Learning to unplug and make space for myself gave me new energy to tackle problems more creatively. Sharing my struggles publicly felt vulnerable at first. But my openness gave others permission to dream and showed that even successful founders face fears and failures. Ideas don't grow in fear, they thrive in safe spaces. Creating a culture where my team could pitch crazy ideas without judgment led to some of our most profitable products. As our client base went global, so did my outlook. Working across cultures forced me to see the world through diverse lenses, making our solutions more inclusive. More isn't always better. Carefully pacing our company's growth ensured we could scale sustainably without losing sight of quality. Every big decision scared me, but fear can sharpen your focus. Learning to lean into that fear led to calculated risks that paid off beyond my imagination. There's no I know everything moment in tech. That curiosity kept me exploring new domains, AI, cloud computing, automation, and strengthened our competitive edge. At some point, I realized profit wasn't my sole metric for success. The real win was seeing lives changed, youth gaining new skills, companies becoming more efficient, and communities thriving. Feedback stung sometimes, especially when it was honest. Yet every tough review was a chance to improve, innovate, and earn greater trust. I had to accept that I couldn't do everything myself. Delegating to talented people created a team that could achieve more together than I ever could alone. When I walked the dirt paths of my village, my past felt like a different world. That past fueled my gratitude and my commitment to help others see a bigger future. Sometimes leadership means making decisions that not everyone agrees with. In those moments, leaning on my core values kept me aligned with the company's mission. Some days were a blur of meetings, travel, and crises. Finding small rituals, morning walks, deep breaths, kept me centered no matter how busy life became. My proudest role became helping my employees grow. Encouraging them to take courses, attend workshops, and chase new ideas created a company built on mutual success. The cycle came full circle when I visited my village's school and handed out laptops. Seeing the spark in those kids' eyes reminded me of my younger self and why this work mattered. Nothing stays the same forever, and that's okay. Accepting change allowed me to pivot my company into new sectors and explore emerging technologies. Even after years of success, I revisit the promises I made to myself. That ritual keeps my work anchored to my original purpose, uplifting my people and making a meaningful impact. Integrity never goes out of style, even in a rapidly changing industry. Choosing the right path, even when it wasn't the easiest, ensured my company earned long-term respect. My story was never just mine, it belonged to everyone who believed in me. That realization drove me to keep telling it, knowing someone might need a light in their own dark chapter. Success can make people proud, but pride can blind you. I stayed close to my village and my mentors to remember who I was before the world knew my name. Adversity never disappeared, I just became better at handling it. That resilience shaped my leadership style and kept me moving forward, one steady step at a time. Even as the company grew complex, I found joy in the basics. A simple thank you, a handwritten note, or a team lunch often had more impact than any grand gesture. My experience was too valuable to hoard. Writing a book and creating workshops let me pass my knowledge to a new generation of tech entrepreneurs. No matter the success, my village was never far from my thoughts. That sense of belonging grounded me, a reminder that my story began with a boy and a dream. Connecting people across backgrounds and borders became my new mission. And every partnership I built proved that innovation knows no geographical boundaries. Looking back, my path was winding, full of surprises, setbacks, and triumphs. And every twist shaped me into someone stronger, wiser, and more compassionate than I ever thought I could be. As the last chapter closes, I realize the most profound lesson: greatness can come from anywhere. With patience, integrity, and a heart for others, even a kid from a small village can build an empire. Never let your origins limit your dreams, let them inspire them. Moral of the story: your background is never a limitation, it is your unique strength. Stay curious, stay humble, uplift others, and embrace the journey one step at a time. The Promdi who once dreamed with a borrowed computer can grow into a leader who changes the world.